Now, when I first brought this camera to Japan, I'm thinking that is this sufficient, because I actually promised myself a few years ago never to touch a micro four third ever again. That was something I said ages ago, and obviously I didn't stick to that promise. Look at how beautiful these footage are. And these are not graded post recording, right? I didn't do any grading or color grading on it. What I did was just slap a LUT on it. I'm not sure how to pronounce LUT or LUT. And this LUT is something I bought online. It's called the Kodak Vision. Bam! I use it for day and night of my footage. And all these are meant to be my documentary and just for my own memories, as in like this is how I look out of the Bon Asakusa Hotel. This is what I see early in the morning. This is behind the hotel. When I walk out of my door, this is what I see. And I'm just like blown away by how beautiful the footage are. So I've been toying around with the idea of doing a hybrid shoot, because I've been doing way too much stills photography. And most of the time I shoot either street or models, influencers, so I would call them pretty people. And they are just a part of my hobby, right? I know this picture is my wife here. And I was just doing handheld, trying to do a ninja walk here and just record, okay, when she's just moving. So although it's not very successful, but I'm actually kind of like being just blown away, as I said, by the color and the footage and everything else here. So what I found to be disgusting is that, when I say the word disgusting, because I couldn't find any other word, I went to YouTube. I was trying to look for some educational material, some durable, like GH7 update about people who have been using it for some time, just to get their opinion on it. And guess what? Almost like 95% or maybe even 99% of the YouTubes out there, they only talk about GH7 a year ago. Goodness, that was basically the year it was launched. And I noticed this is the prevalent trend that there's on any cameras, right? That when it was launched, people who are paid by this, or they receive a free camera from the brand, they talk about it as though it's the next game-changing thing. But then a year later, everybody talks about something else. And that's actually pretty ridiculous, because the camera that you bought even like 4 or 5 years ago is probably sufficient for doing anything else you want. And if you bought something like GH7, or let's say the GH7S3, which is a legendary over-engineered camera, there are basically no replacement for those cameras. Like, so GH7 is one of those cameras that I would classify as over-engineered. You have a small sensor, you have a lot of power backing up that sensor, it has great recording time, purpose, and all kind of lenses you can get on. And the earlier joke I said was, I promised myself never to use a micro four third. The next thing I know is I went back from Japan with 3 Lumix lenses. But I'm digressing. So what I'm trying to say here actually is more towards that we need, at some point in time, if you are in the same boat as me, to get rid of gas, right? GAS. And it's not a very healthy routine if you look up to influencers and YouTube for sourcing out what is your next best a camera post the launch date, right? And in fact, those content creators who talk about cameras after a year in terms of long-term review are the ones that I'm more interested to follow, rather than those who only talk about what's hot for the next 5 minutes, right? So having said that, look at how beautiful this footage is. I was just standing at the Sumida Bridge recording. Such a beautiful place, right? And the thing is, most of my recording is done this is using the 15 1.7 lens. Most of it I actually recorded at 1.7, if not 2.8. Right? How am I able to record 1.7? I just slap in an ND filter that I bought from Yodabashi, right? And yeah, they're just beautiful. I'm not sure like what else do you need in the camera when it comes to travel and vlog, because it has everything. But Japan is one of those countries, if you are coming from the equatorial, maybe you're not, but if you're coming from the equatorial type of countries, like Japan is one of those countries that you would love to visit in terms of photography and videography. And even so, I would argue that even if you come from anywhere else, there's no country like Japan, right? Things here are super clean. We love their toilet. You actually will save the world by not cutting down trees if you use Japanese toilet. That kind of a system. And over here, you know, at sunrise and sunset, things are just so beautiful, right? Because of the degree of the light and that's reaching Japan. Okay, and it not being equatorial or slap in the center of the equatorial belt, you get really beautiful lighting. I will now just show some of the stills I've taken on the same camera. All these are shot in just JPEG. I did edit some of the JPEG in terms of exposure, maybe a bit of contrast, but that is about it. The rest are the same LUT being used on stills photography, and that is one of the amazing things that we can do with the GH7 and of course some of the full frame Panasonic which I have never used. Enjoy.